The heavy iron gates of the Everwood estate stood tall against the horizon, a timeless symbol of family legacy and wealth. As the sleek black car made its way up the long gravel driveway, David Everwood, now a man of success, leaned back in his seat, a deep sigh escaping his chest. The sight of his childhood home evoked a rush of emotions, nostalgia, respect, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. It had been years since he'd set foot here, years spent carving out an empire for himself far beyond the boundaries of his family's vast estate. But now, he was not just a successful businessman returning home, he was a husband too. Beside him, Olivia sat poised, her long fingers tracing the luxurious leather interior of the car with a casual grace. She exuded elegance, a woman accustomed to the finer things in life. She had always dreamed of marrying into wealth, and now, with her husband's family being one of the richest in the country, she felt on top of the world. But as they approached the estate, her lips tightened. Sure, the house was grand, but in her eyes, it felt outdated. She had imagined something more modern, something more in line with the luxurious lifestyle she had dreamed of. David, noticing the subtle shift in her demeanor, said nothing. He had long learned not to challenge her when it came to matters of taste. Olivia always knew what she wanted, and more often than not, she got it. The car slowed to a stop in front of the grand entrance, where the staff was already assembled in perfect formation, awaiting the return of their master. David recognized some of their faces, loyal servants who had worked for his family since his childhood. But his eyes searched for one person in particular. Before he could step out of the car, the large oak doors swung open, and two figures emerged. His aunt, Margaret, stood tall and regal, her piercing eyes scanning him from head to toe. She had always been the backbone of the Everwood family, ensuring the name remained untarnished. Beside her was his older brother, Thomas, whose smile was both welcoming and teasing. David stepped out first, straightening his jacket, before turning to offer his hand to Olivia. She accepted it gracefully, stepping out with the practiced ease of someone accustomed to high society. As her heels clicked against the stone pavement, her gaze swept over the gathered staff, her eyes lingering on them with a touch of detachment, as if she were studying specimens in a zoo. "David, it's good to have you back." Margaret's voice was warm, though tempered with the same cool authority she'd always carried. She gave a brief nod to Olivia, who smiled with her perfect socialite smile, extending her hand. "A pleasure to meet you both. David has spoken so highly of you," Olivia said smoothly. Margaret took her hand, assessing her with a subtle tilt of her head. Thomas, on the other hand, took Olivia's hand lightly, his smirk widening. "Welcome to the Everwood estate, Olivia. I hope you like it here," he said, his tone hinting at amusement. Olivia smiled, though her gaze was unreadable. "It's certainly impressive," she said, her eyes flickering across the grand estate. David's eyes searched again, and finally he spotted her, standing just a few steps behind the rest of the staff, apart from them. It was Mary, the woman who had been more of a mother to him than anyone else. The years had touched her, but her presence remained unchanged. She still stood with the quiet dignity she had always carried, her dark skin lined with the passage of time, but her warmth undiminished. She wore her simple uniform with the same grace, her hands clasped before her,